Hayden Panettiere funeral. Jonathan Jackson shares touching tribute, and the emotional words from her former Nashville co-star Jonathan Jackson have made her sudden passing even more heartbreaking. Because behind the television characters fans knew and loved was a real friendship that continued long after the cameras stopped rolling. Hayden Panettiere died on August 16, 2026, at just 36 years old in Greenville, South Carolina, leaving her family, friends, former co-stars, and millions of fans struggling to understand a loss that came far too soon. While details of her funeral have not been publicly confirmed, Jackson's tribute has offered something perhaps even more meaningful than a public ceremony: a glimpse into who Hayden was away from the spotlight. Jackson played Avery Barkley on Nashville, the on-screen husband of Hayden's character, Juliette Barnes. Their characters experienced a complicated relationship filled with music, heartbreak, reconciliation, and family struggles, but their real connection was much warmer. Jackson remembered Hayden as bright, sensitive, witty, talented, and compassionate, describing a person who became deeply connected to his family. His wife and children reportedly welcomed Hayden into their home, and over the years the actress became much more than a colleague. She became someone they considered part of their family. That detail makes his tribute especially powerful now because it reminds fans that Hayden was not simply a celebrity appearing on television. She was a friend, a daughter, a mother, and someone whose presence mattered deeply to the people around her. For viewers, Hayden will forever be associated with some of television's most recognizable characters. She became internationally famous as Claire Bennett on Heroes, the young woman with extraordinary abilities who became one of the show's defining characters. Later, Nashville gave her a completely different opportunity as Juliette Barnes, allowing her to combine acting with music while portraying a complicated young woman struggling with fame, relationships, and personal challenges. The role earned Hayden 2 Golden Globe nominations and showed audiences that the child star they remembered had developed into a remarkably talented performer. But behind those successful roles was a life that was often much more complicated than anything written into a television script. Hayden began working in entertainment when she was extremely young, meaning that fame became part of her life before she was old enough to understand what it meant. She later spoke openly about addiction, grief, motherhood, and the pressures of growing up in public. Earlier in 2026, she released her memoir, This Is Me, a reckoning sharing painful and deeply personal experiences in her own words. That honesty changed the way many people viewed her, because she was no longer simply the actress from Heroes or Nashville. She was someone willing to acknowledge her struggles and talk about the difficult process of trying to rebuild her life. Now, following her death, those words carry an even greater emotional weight. Authorities have said that Hayden was found in cardiac arrest at a residence in Greenville, and emergency responders attempted life-saving measures before she was pronounced dead. An autopsy was completed, but officials reported no signs of trauma contributing to her death, while the official cause and manner remained under investigation as additional testing continued. Her body was later released to her family, and details about any funeral or memorial service have remained private. That uncertainty is important because there has been no verified public announcement establishing that fans will be able to attend a funeral or that an open casket service will take place. For the people closest to Hayden, this is not a public story. It is an intensely personal goodbye, and Jonathan Jackson's tribute helps explain why. He did not simply remember Hayden as the actress who played his television wife. He remembered the person he knew when there were no cameras around. He remembered her personality, her kindness, her humor, and the relationship she had developed with his family. That distinction becomes even more emotional when you realize how many years Hayden and Jackson spent working together. Nashville ran for 6 seasons, giving the cast years of shared experiences and creating relationships that extended beyond the fictional world of the series. Their characters could argue, separate, reunite, and continue their story because television has scripts. Real life does not. There is no next season waiting for Hayden. There is no future episode where Juliette Barnes returns. There is only the memory of the woman who played her. Other Nashville cast members have also shared emotional tributes, showing that Hayden's impact went far beyond one co-star. Charles Esten remembered her warmly, while other members of the cast expressed their shock and grief. These reactions reveal something that headlines often fail to capture. Hayden had built genuine relationships during her years in Hollywood, and those people are now grieving the loss of someone they knew personally. Her death also came after she had already experienced profound loss, including the death of her younger brother Jansen in 2023. She had spoken publicly about grief and difficult periods in her life, but those struggles should never be allowed to become the only way she is remembered. Hayden's life was much bigger than her hardest moments. She was a performer who worked for decades, a woman who continued trying to move forward, and a mother to her daughter, Kaya. She brought characters to life for millions of viewers, and became part of the memories of people who watched her grow from a child performer into an internationally recognized actress. That is why the question of her funeral feels so emotional. A funeral can mark the final physical goodbye, but it cannot summarize a person's life. Whether Hayden's family chooses a private ceremony or a larger memorial, the most meaningful farewell may happen away from the cameras, among the people who knew her best. Jonathan Jackson's tribute has already provided a glimpse of that private world. It showed that Hayden was loved not only because she was famous but because she was Hayden. Someone could remember her laugh, her personality, the time she spent with a family, and the bond that developed over years. Those memories cannot be captured by a headline, they cannot be replaced by a television role, and they cannot disappear simply because Hayden is gone. In the days and weeks ahead, more tributes may emerge, and confirmed information about her final arrangements may eventually be shared. But for now, the most respectful thing is to allow her family the privacy they have requested while remembering the person behind the fame. Hayden Panettiere's story was filled with remarkable achievements, difficult chapters, and moments of resilience, but it was also filled with relationships that mattered. Jonathan Jackson's tribute reminds us of that. When the cameras are gone and the headlines fade, what remains is the impact a person had on those who knew them. Hayden may have entered millions of homes through television screens, but to Jonathan Jackson and his family, she became something much more personal, a friend who felt like family. And perhaps that is the most touching farewell of all. Not the size of the funeral, not the number of cameras outside, and not the headlines surrounding her death, but the quiet memories carried by the people who loved her. Hayden Panettiere may have left the spotlight far too soon, but the characters she created, the friendships she formed, and the memories she left behind will continue long after the final goodbye.